It's not ways to prevent it. It's maybe more ways to manage it.
You're not going to just never have burnout.
Like a very rigorous set of routines and rituals I've done every single day.
Being able to still be excited about new things and that being a compass for you.
It is okay to be burnt out. And it's not that there's a failure on your side. There's some fundamental flaw in your character. Like, to achieve greatness, you're going to have to endure some pain. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you are going great, everyone. I'm Michael Nadalin, and I'm here with Cory Lindholm, who's here, or maybe here. And we're the PPC Unfiltered podcast. Now, Cory and I have been chatting for about half an hour. We didn't do an episode last week, so I'm still in conversation mode, not presentation mode. So I'll start to get more professional as I go along.
Okay.
And so today we're going to chat about this morning I was going for a run on the beach and I was just thinking about burnout. And I'm part of a mastermind group, and I was watching a video that was in this mastermind group yesterday. Someone was just talking about burnout, and they just mentioned burnout. I've just been thinking about it. So today I just wanted to chat to Cory, or us to have a discussion about burnout. I'd like to say ways to prevent it, but I think it's more ways to manage it, because when you're actually running a company and you're running a lot of accounts and you are successful, burnout kind of is inevitable. So it's kind of ways that we deal with it to deal with it. So yeah, Cory, how you going, mate?
Good, man. I am not burnt out, but I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare for me, but I'm curious, Michael, like what triggers it for you? Because I think that's a pretty important topic. I think for me, triggered, the kind of bottom line is the monotony. It's the boredom. It's not feeling excited. And maybe the actual trigger is just going like 12 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week working. And if I'm not working, I'm learning about JavaScript or Python, or I'm learning about something related to delivering the service that is Google Ads or Microsoft Ads or whatever. So that to me, I think, is a trigger. What about for you? What's usually the triggering point?
Yeah, it's I think I'm always in a kind of a mini state of burnout. And not that I wear that with pride. It's more that I do a lot of things. I'm running a company, I've got a life, and I'm just doing a lot of, and I think there's part of, if you're the type of person who is going after a lot of things in life, you're always going to be pushing your comfort zones, and you're always going to be pushing yourself further, and it's not comfortable. And even when it is comfortable, it does take energy. And I just recognize now, I was like, last night I went to an event and I was just calling my girlfriend beforehand. I'm like, I feel like I'm always tired. And I've got like a very rigorous set of routines and rituals I've done every single day. I never miss a day. So I meditate every single day. And I've been doing that for 5 years now. I haven't missed one day. I do cold showers every day. I exercise every day. I do breath work every day. I do Qigong every day. Like, I do all these renewal activities that bring me back. But at the same time, it still requires effort to do it. So even the things that bring me energy also can take me energy. And then even with just running the company, it's just dealing with admin. Like, it's just so many things. So I think I actually just think it's part of the game, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's more that when it's like gets too much, and then it's about figuring out not ways to, and I just said this at the start, it's not ways to prevent it. It's maybe more ways to manage it. Because if you really are the type of person who's probably listening to this, you're quite ambitious, you want to grow, you want to learn, you want to keep expanding, there's going to come a point where you start to realize like this feeling of discomfort, tiredness, burnout is maybe just going to be part of the experience.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had someone reach out to me, I think it was last year when I started getting more prominent and just posting on LinkedIn and things. And I was really excited because Performance Max was a new thing. I was also excited because obviously it was the beta version, but not the same. But I was really excited about it, and that came through the content. And I had this guy reach out to me that had been doing PPC for a really long time. And he was like, hey, man, I just want to say, like, I'm not selling anything. Like, I really appreciate your content. Like, I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing it for the same company for years, and I'm just like burnt out and like just not really feeling excited about this. I haven't felt excited about doing my job in a long time. Just feels really monotonous and boring. But your content and your excitement for this is really contagious. And so I just wanted to reach out and say I appreciate that. And that really makes me think about burnout too, right? Because I think it is that it's doing the same thing repetitively, not really even getting excited about new things. It's one thing to get excited about like a new campaign type like Performance Max, because for all of us, that was a forced shift. Like we couldn't hold on to smart shopping anymore. So it was like you had a lot of people who are like, F this, I'm going to standard shopping and blah, blah, blah. Or like, all right, let's just wait until it completely forces us to go to Performance Max. I'm sure you had a lot of those. And then other people that were like, let's just embrace the change. Let's get into it as soon as possible before it gets hyper competitive. And while CPCs are still, really, really good for us and cheap and let's do it now. We had a mixed batch, but I think that plays a part. It's just, being able to still be excited about new things, and that being a compass for you of how, like a gauge for you, how burnt out am I? Like when you say daily burnout, to some degree, I think that's a good gauge, right? If you're feeling like you're always tired, and look, folks, we're not medical professionals, consult with, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything. We can't really talk about this, Danny. Like
we're not a psychiatrist, but take
I'll have to cut that one out. But yeah, these are just our own personal experiences with it. And I think we have to pay attention to what our gauge is for burnout. And everyone's going to be a little bit different, right? I mean, some people it's going to be feeling tired a little bit all the time. Some people are going to feel a little bit maybe they're moving away from like relationships in their life and they're just sort of like retreating. Maybe they're kind of not intentionally messing up. Let's say they manage Google Ads accounts, but let's say that they're not doing as much as they know they should be. Like, I got to check those manual product group bids. I'll just wait another week and another week and another week. And you're just sort of like, just delaying doing the stuff or negative keywords and stuff like that. Anyway, I think it's very personal for everybody.
Yeah. And it's also identifying the signs inside of you. It's like, am I losing motivation? Am I losing the juice? Am I, not doing the work? And when I say the work, it's like, the 80-20, the stuff like that, 20% of actions that get 80% of the results. Like in the past, there's probably times in our younger years where we wanted to do everything and learn everything and all that stuff is awesome. And then as you get older, you realize, okay, there's probably an 80-20 approach. But even then, if you're not doing that 20% that get 80% of the results, as you were saying with that wonderful example with that man who reached out to you or that person who reached out to you, I think that's sometimes the challenge is variety. If you're working on the same accounts over and over, the same boss or the client, it can get a bit like gray, vanilla, boring, and having that's why I feel like even though I'm burnt out, I've got so much variety in my day. Like I'm from start of the day to the end of the day, I'm like I'm communicating with clients and executing strategies and managing a team and doing invoices and then managing landing pages and then brokering deals. And it's just like, there's so many things. So it's like that vanilla aspect, I don't get that. It's more that I'm just always running really fast. And it's more about like what I've found is you've got to figure out ways to shift the energy outside of work, because a lot of people will sit at the same job doing the same thing, and that's fine. The problem is they go back to then life after the day and then they just do the same things. Like last night I went to a cacao ceremony, which is ceremonial cacao and like a sound healing, and it went for like 3 to 4 hours. And it's just like, that was on a Wednesday night. Now I've come back, only slept 5 hours last night. I've already been for a run and a swim. I feel great today and I feel juiced. But last week, I was telling you, I went to 2 Blink-182 concerts and like I was cooked, but like afterwards. But then I felt so refreshed the next day because I was having such a different variety outside of the work that when I came back, I was like fresh. So sometimes it might even be looking into how can you, or how can whoever it is, look for ways that when the work's done for the day, I break the mold. So then work's not the same and life's the same. Like something's got to shift. And if you can't shift the work, maybe you've got to shift your life and just do something different.
I love that. I think what we're doing here, we're shifting that conversation as to, okay, how do we identify it? And now we're talking about solutions, right? Like solution oriented. And you're never going to fix the problem. Like you've talked about, it's like, how do you like maintain this in your life? You're not going to just never have burnout. Like, oh, variety is the spice of life. And that's the solution. As long as I just mix it up with you, you're still going to experience it, right? You're going to go to the concert and you're going to come back and you're going to not want to do it even more. And you're like, man, I just wish I could just always go to concerts. That could be my life now or something, right? You're going to have to, this is life, as is life, you're going to have your ups and downs, and you're going to have times where you're just not interested in what you're doing. But I do think that's a great idea, and it's a really good solution. It's a good way to maintain it, is just to keep mixing things up. Get away from it for a while, man. Take a vacation. It's tough. I know, especially if you work at an agency, man, it's a lot of work and you're constantly on the grind. Most weeks you're doing overtime and you're salaried. So it's not like you're really getting incentivized. You're not getting shares of profits or anything like that. And you're just doing more work. And so taking a vacation, you could actually feel guilty, right? Like you can actually feel guilty. And if you run your own business doing this, like, if I take a day off, what happens if blah, blah, blah? Well, use scripts, set up automation, get software that alerts you, whatever. Probably, I can't guarantee it, but probably nothing's going to happen that's that dramatic or that can't be fixed. Probably worst case scenario is conversion tracking breaks or something, and you lose a day or two without conversions, but it's not going to just completely wipe out all the work that's been done and you'll just never get back to it. The company's probably still getting some sales, and it's probably not the end of the world. Now,
and it's probably not coincidentally on the exact same day you go and leave either. So,
though it does seem to be the day that you leave, okay. Right?
Maybe with you, Cory. You've done some horrible things in past lives to enable that in your life.
No, it's so funny though. I swear I've heard that from other people that do this, that are like, it's always the time that I take a vacation that the client, like, their best sellers go out of stock or they need to like pivot immediately. It's this weird coincidence. Of course, it's just how we
confirmation
see it.
Bias. I'm sure
it's confirmation bias. Exactly. Yeah, it just shines brighter.
As you were saying about like holidays, two things that I've noticed that make a big shift from burnout, even when you're still working. Change your environment and change who you surround yourself with. That will influence your life more than anything else in general.
Great.
So if you're working in the same office space, like I'm working in the same office in my house, maybe move into a different room. I've noticed it's crazy. There are times where I'm procrastinating doing work and then I change a room and then I just like for some reason snap into doing it. It's like I didn't have to mindset myself into it. And being around different people can just give you a bit of fresh energy. And the other thing is, this is life. This is called the work. Like the work is not easy. It's not always fun. Like if you listen to any people like Alex Hormozy or David Goggins, most of them, and they're two men who are quite successful and they obviously got a certain personality type. Not that everyone has to be like it, but if you do want to achieve stuff, when you listen to people like that, you realize they're not just sitting around going, haha, life's good, no burnout. They're like, I'm just doing the work. And you just show up and you do it. And some days it sucks. At some moments it sucks. Now, I'm grateful that most of the time for me it doesn't, because awesome clients, awesome work, awesome team, love the work I do as well. But even with all those things, I still get burnt out at times. So it's going to recognize that it is okay to be burnt out. And it's not that there's a failure on your side. There's some fundamental flaw in your character. Like to achieve greatness, you're going to have to endure some pain. And this is sometimes just the pain you've got to endure. Even when things are so going great and you've controlled all the systems and processes, there's always going to be pain. It's never going to be green pastures every day where you rock up and it's just like a, life source.
I think too, you're saying like, don't, well, if you're using David Goggins, for example, like don't compare yourself to outliers. You're not David Goggins, and he probably wouldn't think that you're him either. Like, come on, guys, like be realistic. You've got to do what works for you. And I think you've got to try to track that. Like if you're feeling burnt out, what's happened recently? Has there been a big change in your life? Have you been doing something differently than usual? Are you getting the basics right? Are you sleeping enough for you? Are you eating proper diet for you. Like it's just like anything we talk about where we talk about like managing accounts. It's not what's best for all Google Ads accounts. It's what's best for this business, right? What's good for this industry, for these campaign types. You've got to put it all into context, and you've got to make it relevant for your situation. And Burnout is no different.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, mate, I reckon we can wrap this one up. It's a a quick motivational talk, just because, I was thinking about this morning, and like it's unfiltered. I just want it to be based on relevant, recent things that we're either thinking about, experiencing, and, there's be a lot of people that will hopefully get something from this, because, we all deal with it. We're not, there's nothing fundamentally flawed. It's just like, at the end of the day, you're tired. That's what happens, When you work a lot, you'll get burnt out. It's just part of the cycle. Excellent. So, Cory, how can people find you, mate?
They can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and now Spotify, PPC Unfiltered.
Awesome. Marketlead.com.au, Michael Nadalin on LinkedIn, Marketlead on YouTube, PPC Unfiltered on Spotify and YouTube. Cory, have a wonderful day, mate.
You too, man. Thanks for watching, everybody.